You peel off your gloves and drop them into a biohazard bin. It's 1:17 in the morning, and for the first time all night, the ER goes quiet. 12 hours. Knife wounds. Overdose. Car crash. Child with a fever that wouldn't break. You think, coffee, sleep, rent. Then the ambulance bay door slams open. Not a gurney. 2 men in dark jackets carrying a third between them. No uniforms, no paperwork. The man in the middle is bleeding through a white dress shirt, hands clamped to his side. One looks at you, doctor. Not a question. You point toward triage. Take him to intake. He needs to be registered. The second man steps in close. His jacket opens. Gun. No paperwork. Lights. Antiseptic. Blood. Camera. The first man follows your eyes and turns the security camera toward the wall. Now, you should hit the alarm. Instead, you grab a trauma cart. Because if you don't, the man dies. And because if you do this wrong, you might die with him. You cut the shirt open. Bullet wound. High abdomen. Bad angle. Too much blood. You shout for O negative, out of habit. No one moves. A nurse at the far station stares at you, terrified. The gunman shakes his head once, no one else. You look at the patient, the operating doors, then back at the gun. You understand the rules. Save him quietly, or become part of the cleanup. Wheel him, you say. Your voice sounds wrong. You head toward the operating doors, then turn away. Service corridor. Basement route. No cameras near laundry intake. One dead angle by central supply. Not because they told you to. Because you already know the blind spots. That's the first thing you hate yourself for. You get him into an unused basement procedure room. Not an operating theater, but close enough. You lock the door. The gunman takes position by it. You cut deeper. Blood wells fast. You need imaging, blood, a team, a real room. You are a surgeon. But not this kind. Trauma Fellowship taught you how to open, clamp, and buy time. It did not teach this. Bad light. Armed men. No backup. No name. If I do this here, he could die, you say. The gunman shrugs. If you do nothing, he definitely dies. You ask for suction. None. Blood. None. Crash cart. The other man slides one over with his foot. You start. Clamp. Pack. Cut. Find the source. Your hands move before your fear catches up. He's bleeding internally and fast. You can't fix everything. You just need to stop him from dying first. The gunman watches without blinking. That's worse. Threats you can answer. Silence just waits. The monitor chirps in uneven bursts. His pressure drops so low, you think he's gone. You lean in harder, clamp by feel, and the bleeding slows. Not cleanly, not elegantly, but enough. You close in layers. Fast, ugly, effective. When you tie the final stitch, your fingers cramp. He'll live, you say. The gunman sets an envelope on the tray. No smile, no thank you. You were never here. They take the patient. When the door shuts, your knees go weak. You sit, Peel off your gloves and stare at the envelope. $10,000. For 37 minutes. For moving a bleeding man off book and pretending the camera never turned. You look at the blood on your sleeves, then the money. Something ugly happens. Part of you stops seeing evidence and starts seeing rent. That's the first lie. You don't report it. You tell yourself you'll report it tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. By then, it isn't a secret. It's a waiting period. The envelope ends up in a shoebox behind winter coats in the hall closet. You use none of it. Then your landlord tapes a notice to your door. Then your ex reminds you your son's school payment is overdue. Then your car battery dies after a double shift. You take out $500. Then $1,200 for rent. You stop counting where it came from. That's the can thing you hate yourself for. And that's when the money stops feeling temporary. Not a mistake. Not evidence. A system. The next call comes before the guilt does. 3:08 a.m. You answer because surgeons learn to answer phones in the dark. A man says your name correctly on the first try. Not doctor. Your name. There's a driver coming. Bring your black bag. He thanks you before he hangs up. You say, I'm not doing this again. A pause. Then, calm and almost gentle. Your son leaves for school at 7:42. Blue backpack. Red headphones. Crosses on Mercer and Ninth. The line stays open just long enough for you to understand. Then it clicks dead. 10 minutes later, a black sedan waits outside. You don't remember getting dressed. You remember checking your son's room. He's asleep, one arm over his face. You close the door quietly. The second patient is in a warehouse by the river. Cold concrete, diesel fumes, halogen work lights. A woman on a folding table. 30s, conscious, bleeding from the thigh. Deep laceration, wrong place, arterial. She's pale and trying not to panic in front of the men around her. You clamp the bleed, irrigate, suture, wrap. She bites down on a leather strap and doesn't scream once. When you finish, she grabs your wrist. Don't let them make you feel like this is normal. Then they pull her away. Another envelope. $15,000. The same driver opens your door and says, "Careful stepping out, doctor." At 7:42, you stand at the window and watch your son cross Mercer and Ninth with his blue backpack and red headphones. He has no idea how close the world got to him. You understand something then? This is not side money. This is ownership. Weeks pass, then months. That's how traps work when they're expensive. They don't rush. You keep the hospital job. You sign charts, teach residents, joke in elevators. At night, sometimes a car comes. Sometimes a text with a location. No names, no repeats. Not true. The kits repeat. Same sterile wrap brand. Same tape. Same clipped lot number on IV tubing. Different locations. Same supply chain. Different men in different rooms use the same phrase the same way. Doctor, only what's urgent. A motel room. Then a restaurant basement. Then a tailor shop after closing. Different doors. Same rules. You bring what you can carry. You improvise what you can't. Then another. A shattered hand from a machine no one wants reported. Then another. A knife wound stitched under generator light. Then another. A fractured jaw wired in a nightclub back room while bass shakes dust from the ceiling. Then another. A courier with an infected shoulder abscess who swears he just fell. Then a kid with a fresh gang tattoo and a collapsed lung trying to act tough while his fingers shake. They come bleeding. They come careful. They come angry. They come grateful. They come with men who never blink. They all pay. They all leave. They all act like silence is part of the procedure. You tell yourself some are criminals. You tell yourself some are desperate. Both are true. That's what makes it dangerous. If they were all monsters, quitting would be easy. If they were all innocent, staying would feel noble. They're mixed. So are you. A courier with a fever sees your hospital badge in your bag and says, "I thought the last one worked nights too." You ask, "Last one?" He looks away. For the first time, you wonder if you inherited this work before you earned it. You start making categories in your head so you can sleep. The monsters, the workers, the unlucky, the liars, the frightened. The ones who thank you. The ones who look at you like they're memorizing your face for later. You don't ask names. They don't ask yours. But your reputation spreads anyway. Not your face, not your title. Your function. The surgeon who works off-grid. The surgeon who doesn't report. The surgeon who keeps people alive long enough for mourning. It stops feeling like random calls. Starts feeling like placements. The money gets bigger. You pay off debt. You fix the leak in your apartment ceiling. You move your son into a better school district. You buy your mother hearing aids she pretended she didn't need. You donate to the hospital quietly and tell yourself that counts for something. Twice, you notice the same black sedan across from the hospital at shift change. The third time, it leaves when you look at it. You start saying no to the worst cases. No children. No torture cleanup. No jobs where someone is tied down and begging. You still have rules. You say that like rules and chains are different things. One night, you say no. A man in his 20s, duct tape on his wrists, cheeks split open, fingers bent the wrong way. Bar fight, a handler says. You look at the wrists, the bruising at the throat. You close your bag. No! The room goes still. The patient flinches, trying to swallow. No torture cleanup, you say again. A handler steps forward, calm and practiced. He takes your phone, unlocks it with your hand, and scrolls. Your son at the park. Your mother in her kitchen. Your hospital ID photo. He sets the phone beside the patient's blood. Finish what's urgent. Leave the rest. Please. You know that word now. Please means there is no choice. You work with your jaw locked, stabilizing what will kill him first and ignoring what was done on purpose. When you're done, the patient grips your sleeve and whispers, "You're not the first." Before you can ask, they pull him away. No envelope this time. Just your phone, returned face down. After that, the pressure gets cleaner. A motel job goes dark mid-stitch when the generator fails. 6 seconds of black. Everyone talking at once. Then a gunshot in the next room. Not yours. A reminder. You finish anyway. At work, security sends a memo about a disabled ER camera 3 months ago. Unresolved incident. No names, no footage, just a date you know by heart. You read it twice, delete it, empty trash. You try to quit on a Tuesday. Change your number. Pick up extra shifts. Leave your black bag in a locker. For 9 days, nothing happens. You sleep. Eat dinner with your son. Almost believe it. On the 10th day, security calls you to the ER entrance. A package. No return address. Inside, your black bag. Cleaned, restocked, zipped. On top, a note in block letters. You forgot this. That night, a car comes. You get in. Later, in a penthouse above the rainlit city, you stabilize a finance man with a panicked heart and too much cocaine in 20 minutes. Clean work, easy money. In the mirror, you look focused, efficient, needed. A text arrives from no number. Glad you're comfortable. That thought slips in anyway, clean and poisonous. They need you more than you need them. You're not trapped. You're indispensable. For one full breath, it feels like power. That's the third thing you hate yourself for. When the elevator doors open behind you, you already know the night isn't over. 3 men in dark suits stand there like the same blueprint. The one in the center holds up a phone. A photo of you entering the building. Swipe, warehouse by the river, tailor shop, motel, your apartment, your son's school. They documented everything because they were patient. Come with us, he says, please. You take your bag and go. They blindfold you in the car. Not rough, professional. That scares you more than violence. Violence is emotional. This is organized. When the blindfold comes off, you're underground. A real surgical suite. Clean walls. Negative pressure doors. Anesthesia machines newer than anything in your hospital. Cabinets stocked better than your trauma unit. Everything immaculate. Everything illegal. A woman in scrubs checks instrument trays. She looks up once, then back to work. A man in a charcoal suit enters. We've heard excellent things, he says. You set your bag down. I'm leaving. He nods. I admire the instinct. He gestures toward the operating room window. On the table, a man surrounded by monitors and blood. You know him from the news. A donor, a businessman, a gala-board smile beside mayors. The man everyone pretends not to understand. Open from collarbone to sternum. Complication, blood loss, time. You have real surgeons, you say. Use them. We are, the suit says. Then, they're dead. She doesn't look up. Disposable if useful. Dead if difficult. I can't do cardiothoracic surgery. No, he says. But you can keep a mammal alive while better men panic. And tonight, that is enough. A guard appears at the door. The suit points to the scrub sink. Begin. You scrub in. Soap, brush, rinse, elbows high, mask, gloves, gown. The woman ties your gown strings. Name, you whisper. She puts a clamp in your hand. Don't. You step to the table. Muted alarms. Blood warmer heme. A chest cavity that should not be your responsibility. You assess fast. You need control. Pressure. Visibility. Time. Suction. In your hand. More light. Already moving. Clamp. Before the word finishes. She's excellent. Too excellent. This place has had surgeons before. This place eats surgeons. You work. The monitor changes, and your body narrows to that sound. Clamp. Pack. Adjust. Repair what you can. Ignore what you can't. Your hand slips. The line spikes. The guard shifts. Then the monitor drops into a flat, ugly tone. The woman freezes.
Do not fail now.
The guard grabs the door frame. The suit finally speaks. Do not fail now. The line stutters back. You move before panic can. For one ugly second, you think about letting go. Then you think about your son crossing Mercer and Nenth. Your hands steady. You continue. 2 hours, maybe 3. Then the bleeding slows. Then the numbers climb. Then the heart keeps going. You close. Wire, suture, dressings. Remarkable. You pull off your gloves. Take me home. He presses a button. The glass clouds white. The door seals behind you. Locked. You turn back. The man on the table is awake. Enough. He smiles like a man checking inventory. You're the one, he whispers. I'm done. He shifts his eyes past your shoulder. In the corner, a narrow bed. Then the desk, the lamp, the locker. Shelves of textbooks and atlases. Fresh clothes in plastic. A toothbrush, razor, soap. Prepared. Not for tonight. For you. No, you say. He smiles, weak and pleased. People keep bringing me wounded men, knifed accountants, shot drivers, broken collectors, burned couriers. They all say the same thing, the surgeon with the steady hands. I have a son. The suit's voice comes through a speaker. He will be provided for. You slam the door. He needs his father. Then the voice again. He needs to stay alive. You look at the woman in scrubs cleaning instruments, still not looking at you. Names are for people who plan to leave. You look at the white glass, blood on your sleeve. You think back to the first night, the ER, the camera turned to the wall, the man bleeding through a white shirt. One choice. Then, a favor. Then, a compromise. Then, a system. Then, a specialty.
Then a reputation.
Then, a reputation.
With the steady hands.
You were wrong.
You were wrong.
It was a recruitment. Slow, careful, expensive. You didn't build a secret practice. They built a cage and taught you to call it purpose. The speaker clicks once. Get some rest, doctor. We start at 6. You stand in the humming white room, listening to a machine breathe for the man you saved, and your own breathing for the life you just lost. You spent your whole career trying to keep death outside the door. Now you're the one locked in with it.